Hi, my name is Pat Parelli, and I'd like to tell you a little story how I discovered a 12-foot training rope was different than a 7-foot lead rope. You see, when I was a kid, I worked in a tack store. It's called Silvera's Tack and Feed. And I even got a job there after hours in high school. And we had two different kinds of lead ropes. We had the little lead ropes made out of cotton, and then we had little lead ropes now made out of some kind of a synthetic, and they were different colors, and they were kind of the cool thing, and they were going with these wide web halters that they were selling, and you could get them all matching and everything. And that all seemed pretty good. And I decided to have a quest to master trailer loading. I realized that probably one of the number one problems that people have around the world is getting horses to go into trailers confidently. You know, a lot of people sneak them in, a lot of people gang up on them, a lot of people give them sedatives, a lot of people do all kinds. I've seen people put a tractor through the other end and drag them in. You see, one of my teachers, Mr. Troy Henry, he told me just before he passed away that if I would master trailer loading, it would probably unlock all, because I was the the student that had all the questions, and I was with him for 5 years, and he probably inundated him with questions. He probably got sick and tired of it, and finally he says, look, I know what you're seeking. You want to ride and slide and spin and win and turn and burn. If you can discover what it takes to get horses to want to go into a horse trailer, you're gonna figure out everything else. You're gonna figure out everything on your own that you're gonna need to know. That's cool. Well, I'm going around with these little 7-foot long lead ropes. You know, they're made for leading a horse from point A to point B and tie them to point B. And when I started trailer loading, I ran out of rope real quick. So I went down to a hardware store and I bought me some of that same kind of rope, and I made it 12 feet long. I gave myself an extra 5 feet, and that rope could, adjust and slip and stuff like that. So I got pretty good at trailer loading horses. I would trailer load every horse, and oftentimes I'd have 30 people in my clinics every weekend. Then I had this program called Have Help Will Travel. I'd go around to people's stables and I'd help them with their horses, all kinds of behavior problems. I'd say a third of them were trailer loading. So I got this little place called Yucca Valley in Southern California, not too far from Palm Springs. And I go to this lady's house and I said, okay, where's your halter and your lead rope and all that. So she says, there it is, and there's the horse, and tells me all about how bad it is to put in the trailer. So she hands me this halter and lead rope. And this lead rope, it was white. This one's a red one, but it was white. It was made out of, and I picked it up. I didn't even look at it. I just picked up the halter and lead, and I went, what's this? Oh, she says, that's yachting braid. She says, my husband works for a utilities company, and they have to pull these huge cables through different pipes and stuff like that. And because of OSHA, they only can use them one time. But she said they're super strong. And so my husband brings all this stuff home, and he makes me lead ropes out of it. I said, Now, this was 1983, something like that. And I was pretty proud of myself. I was charging $100 an hour, had a 3-hour minimum, guaranteed. Whatever I was there to do is going to help you and your horse get this solution that you were looking for. So I said to her, after I got to using it, because as not only, I said, do you have any longer ones? She had a little 7-foot one. I said, do you have a longer? She says, I do have a longer one. My husband made me a longer one. Well, the one he made was probably about 15 feet long. It was a little bit too long, but her horse needed it because it would pull back and I could just let it drift and stuff. And pretty soon I've got this rope. She had a little leather popper on it, and I was able to swing the end of it at the horse and let it go and send it here and do this and do that. I could pop it around and go the other way. Next thing you know, not only, of course, the horse goes in the trailer, because I've already got the techniques down, but all of a sudden I had this tool that completely changed the game in my favor. So I said to her, how about a little barter, because it might be smarter. How about we trade this session for some of this rope? She gave me this huge box full of rope, and I made a bunch of lead ropes, and I made reins out of it. I made ropes that were a little bit longer. I made all kinds of different things. And now I'm sitting pretty good, because now as I go to clinics, now I'm getting through these trailer loads, I'm saving at least 30% of my time. What was taking me an hour or 40 minutes to get a horse in, now they're getting in there in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm more efficient. I'm going, man, this is slick. So everybody hands me their horse. I put my halter on, take their lead rope off, put my lead rope on, and people are going, well, where can I get one of those? And I go, well, there's this lady in Yucca Valley here, and her husband. So finally, I dawned on me, yachting braid. Where can I get some yachting braid? I went down to not a yachting store, but a boat store down on the docks near Stockton, California, and I found some. It was very expensive, so I bought up, I don't know, about 500 feet of it. And I bought the whole spool, and on the spool it told me the manufacturer's name, and I called the manufacturer, and the manufacturer said, sure, we can sell you some, but you have to have in order to buy wholesale, you have to buy X amount of quantity and stuff like that. Well, in the end, I had ended up buying $10,000 worth of rope to make my very first commercial lead rope. But I was so certain it was the right thing, the right tool. Now, that was about 1984, I think, when we first bought that first truckload full of rope. And the rest is history. We still buy it by the truckload. And I used to make my own halters on the way there. The only thing that I think that from the original ones, and one of the exciting things is, I'll bet you 10 times a year somebody comes up to me and says, look, Pat, I bought this lead rope and this halter from you in 1987. They've still got the same one. The only flaw that I had was that the original snap I had was a good one, but that company went out, it was called a bull snap if I remember, went out of business, and you had to push it forward like this and snap it on. It was real good. And the ones after that just weren't the same. Then I saw on somebody's hot walker this snap that in case a horse gets hung up, all you have to do is twist it sideways and it can come undone. And then this pops open and it cannot pop back where it could pop and hit you on the finger. So you reach up, turn that, and the pressure's off. So I thought, now that is a cool snap. Now the first snaps I bought came from Italy. They were $14 a snap. The second problem I had goes, because some horses will pull back and something will break. Now somebody's got this tied on. So then, it took me a little while, but then finally I went, you know what? Instead of sewing this into, I made it to where if a snap did break, all you have to do is undo the halter. And if you thought you found a better snap than what I've got, you could just take that off there like that. And voila, you just replace the snap by going like that. So to me, I love simple things that work well. I love things that last a long time, because cheap is expensive, I found out over the years. Worse than that, oftentimes cheap is dangerous. So I like things to be safe, functional, clean, green and handsome if I can. So that's how I started using 12-foot ropes made out of yachting braid. And ever since then, it's probably you can go into, all over the world and you can see these people that have these training ropes. And that's one of the things that I try to get people to understand. There is a difference between a training rope and a lead rope. And my 12-foot rope is my training rope.